Hey everyone, Sean here, and today what I want to talk to you more about is how to build an automation with the RPA tool UiPath. Now, I've said this before and I still stand by it. In order to leverage the automation tools that are available, like robotic process automation or RPA for short, to automate various tasks and projects and create a big boost to efficiency for your firm, you don't really need a lot of deep technical knowledge. However, a little bit goes pretty far. As such, I'm going to be sharing more with you about common concepts as it pertains to software engineering, as well as the terminology when using specific tools in order to complete these projects. And the one that I want to talk to you more about today is the RPA tool UiPath. I want to talk to you about the steps in the process, as well as the common terminology when using a tool like this in order to build an automation for your firm. Now, the example that we'll use is we'll say that your firm wants to take a ton of data out of a spreadsheet and input it into some other kind of ERP or enterprise resource planning piece of software, which you could just think of as any cloud-based tool that you might use where you're storing data and using it for another purpose. Now, we have a better understanding and kind of what the steps in the process may be, but I want to describe it for you from the perspective of if you were building this as an automation so that your team could get a ton of time back using the RPA tool UiPath. The first step in the process would be to create your workflow. Workflow is key terminology that UiPath uses in their application. And what you can think of as a workflow is essentially the entire process that you'd like to automate from end to end. In UiPath, they refer to that as a workflow. Now, the workflow in this case would be that example that I shared, where we're going to take that data out of a spreadsheet and we're going to input it into another cloud-based system that you're using. That's the automation in this case, and in UiPath, that's going to be better known as your workflow. Now, the second step in the process is to build out your sequences, and those sequences are a component of your workflow. You can think of a sequence in UiPath as a major component in the process that you'd like to automate. Two such examples of what that might be in this case are taking that data out of Excel or a spreadsheet and inputting that data into your cloud-based tool. Those would likely be two separate sequences that you would need to build in this UiPath workflow. Now, the third and essentially final step in this process in terms of what you need to build and the common terminology you need to know is creating the activities. Now, an activity in UiPath is a specific step in a specific sequence, which again makes up that workflow. Now, in this case, activities for the sequence where you're taking the data out of a spreadsheet might be you need to find the file, you need to open the file, you need to point the application at where the data exists, and then you need to extract the data out of the spreadsheet. I just described what essentially would amount to 4 separate activities in that first sequence in your workflow to give you a better understanding in how the terminology works if you're going to leverage a tool like UiPath in order to build these automations. So just to summarize, the workflow is the full process that you want to automate from end to end. The sequence are major steps in that process, and an activity is each individual step in each sequence in that workflow. Now, I'm going to be sharing more terminology like this with you so that you have better understanding in general concepts as it pertains to software engineering, as well as terminology and common language used in order to leverage tools like UiPath, which is an RPA tool, to build automations for your firm. If you need any help at your firm with any of these processes, I can help you out. To learn more about how, please visit my website at nextstep.io or email me directly at sean@nextstep.io. And I want to thank you for engaging with my content. I hope that you found it valuable.